Hello, hello. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good, whatever time it is that you are joining me. Hi, my name is Lindsay. I am a partner success manager here at Supered, and this is our package builder camp focusing kind of on HubSpot resources as well as the other Supered assets that you can put into a package to deliver to your clients. A couple of housekeeping items while we give some time for everyone to pop in. The platform that we use is called Contrast, getcontrast.io. They're a wonderful partner if you're in the market for a webinar platform. There is just a little note on how their chat works. There's about, I think it's like a 10 to 15 second delay between when you put something into the chat and versus when it pops up on my side as the speaker chat. I highly encourage questions as we go along. You don't need to wait for anything specific. If a question comes up as we're going through this, absolutely ask it. Just know that if I don't see it immediately, it's probably just because it hasn't come through on my side yet. I had other items. My brain. If you have been to the other two camps this week, you are quite familiar with the Chaos Goblin. That is me. Oh, remembered. This is a little bit interactive, kind of like our Get Supered 101 and the second half of Process Rules Camp, meaning I would love for you to log into your Supered accounts and kind of follow along as we go through. For the purpose of my side, this will all be like demo, tests, things like that. But if you have a specific use case that you're wanting to dive immediately into, I highly encourage doing that as well, and adding in the assets from HubSpot that you want to be able to put into a Supered package to then deploy to multiple clients, or if you have Supered assets created that you want to deliver to client accounts as well. Definitely something that I would encourage as we go through, just so, might as well, right? Use the time. Yeah, I think that's all of my housekeeping items. I should have an agenda. I run these like for a couple of months now. You would think that I would have an agenda. Nah. Okay, cool. Let's get into it. All right, so we're going to log into Supered in our homepage. There's a couple of places that you can find packages. First and foremost, we're going to talk about the packages part of the left side toolbar, menu bar, whatever you want to call that. What these are, if I scroll to the bottom, every account with Supered has these. These are just suggested packages, things created by the Supered team that we found to be helpful, that our other partners find to be helpful. Some of them are created by app partners that we work with, such as Surf. So by no means are you required to use these. They're just there to help. So if you get stuck as you're creating, kind of want to see what the Supered team kind of puts together and thinks about how we think about packages, all of that, they're there just as like a springboard, right? As you go and create with your packages, those packages will show up here as made by, and then your company name, right? So yours will come first, and then it will push the Supered made ones to the bottom. But the Supered made ones are always there just to help you. But to build a package, we're going to come here. We're going to hit Manage Package. What Manage Package does from that button is take us into the partner screen and into partner packages. This segues into a note that packages are a Supered partner only feature. So if you are one of my Supered users or just Supered curious, you don't have an account quite yet, just know that this feature that we're going over today is partner specific. If it is something that you want, if it's something that looks like something that you could be using, let us know. We're always happy to kind of chat through what we need from you to become a Supered partner, right? Okay. You have the question of what's the difference between a package and a base. You're not alone. I think that is my most asked question as I am receiving new people into Supered, and it's a great question to have. So the difference between packages and bases. Packages are your delivery mechanism. That's all they are. They are the thing that you put the other things into to give to a client. Whereas bases are the housing mechanism. It's where you create your content. It's where you put everything that you want to be able to embed into accounts, your training, all of that, right? It goes into the housing, which is the base, and then the base then goes into the package, right? So in order to get all of that stuff over to your clients, you need your delivery mechanism, which is the package. So that's the best way that I found to, you know, uh, explain it, right? Okay, so we're gonna hit create package. Yay. From this screen here, name it, right? So naming conventions that tend to work well for people are if you are doing like specific HubSpot assets that you want to put into a package to then deliver to multiple clients. I've seen it work well when it's packages just dedicated to a specific asset, or if you have what you want to do, like the perfect portal, right? If you want to create that base build that you can then put into a client account, which frees up time to really tailor to them what they need, you can do perfect portal dash, like the niche that it's in. So, if you're in the niche of like banks, perfect portal bank, whatever, you get what I'm saying. Mine, of course, is going to be package builder camp and then the date. So if you don't have a real life use case, you can use the same naming convention so that you can find it later, delete it, whatever you need to do. I am not clever when it comes to naming things. So if you were really hoping for some mind-blowing naming conventions, it's not there. Everything I do is demo, test, or the date. I don't have that skill. You can also add in a short description and then a full description, which has, you can put in a lot more detail, or you can just leave those. A note that I like to say before we move on here is you want to make sure you hit this save button. What that save button will do is it will save your name and then any description that you've put in there. If you don't hit that save button and you move on in this process, it will revert back to its default, which is unnamed package. And then you'll need to hit edit details to add in the name again. So just be sure that as you are doing it, definitely hit that save. Okay. So from here, we are going to build our package. So we're going to click on build package. And then right here, these first three are supered assets. We have HubSpot and then action plans, which is another supered asset. For now, let's talk about adding HubSpot resources in. So when I click on HubSpot resources, it is going to take me into a window of all of the accounts that I have access to. This is your source portal. This is where you want, if you have assets, anything that are built within HubSpot that you want to copy into a super package, this is your source, right? So I'm going to pop into this guy right here. This will be my source portal. And then over on that right-hand side in Sidekick is become the package builder. This is where I can start selecting which HubSpot resources I want to add into this package. So I am going to add in a dashboard, and you'll see why in a second. Okay, so what this is the Supered dependency resolver. Supered has looked through that resource that I added, the original one, the dashboard, and it has brought up these other fields, these other resources that I need to add in as well to the package in order for my dashboard to perform in the way that it's performing in my source portal. So we love the dependency resolver. It's taken a lot of guesswork out of adding in fields. Like, maybe you forgot something, there's a dependency, a dependent property for the asset to work, you forgot it needs it, whatever. Super doesn't, it looks through it. So I like to err on the side of adding all the dependencies, but we do give you some control. If for whatever reason you want to handle dependencies on your own, absolutely you can, or you can select which ones you want to do as well. I just err on the side of just adding them all. Along with dashboards, you can see that there are a bunch of resources within HubSpot that you can add into a super package, including like custom objects. Like right here, I have a custom object, commissions. Custom objects will include all properties, property groups, associations, and pipelines. They'll just include them automatically when you have a custom object if it includes any of those. So you won't need to worry about that as well. We have that little tooltip there for you as well if you forget. Quick note before I move away from this screen is right here, it says BU primary. So Supered supports business units with an asterisk. We will support business units, but we will not build them, right? So the business unit itself, if you are working with them, needs to exist in the receiving portal before you can assign an asset into it using a Supered package. Reason for this being is there's, an additional fee for those for business units, right? So it just has to exist before Super can deploy a package into it. It's kind of like, the HubSpot account has to exist before Super can deploy a package. Okay. So say I've added in all of the resources assets from this HubSpot account that I want to put into the package. What I'll do from here is I'll come back over into Supered, and I can sidekick out of here. Come back over, and I'm going to hit this refresh button here, and that will pull in the list of all of the resources I just added. Important to note is this timestamp here. Supered packages are a moment in time, meaning they it's like you photocopied something. So Super does not keep an open API with HubSpot. So these fields, these assets, these objects, whatever you want to call them, right, are going to look as they did at this time on this day. So if I went through and I made, maybe an update to this commissions object, I would need to remove it from my package and re-add it if I wanted those changes to reflect in the package itself. The other side of that coin is, maybe you have an account that has one too many super admins in it. And maybe someone goes and changes something they shouldn't be changing or deletes something they shouldn't be deleting. Super packages allow you to be able to deploy the object or the resource asset as it should look if something breaks, right? Okay. So from here, we can talk about installation best practices. You have the ability to install a draft package. This, if you are like actively working on the package, you just want to see installing it, how that works, all of that. You can do an installation of a draft package. I like to publish my package drafts, mostly because I think I have undergrad PTSD. I don't know, where, if you've ever spent like an entire night in the library working on a paper and you don't save it and it disappears. It's happened to me twice. So I like to publish. I'm a control S kind of girly. Like, no matter what, I'm saving. Even if it's automatically saving or keeping drafts, I'm gonna do it. So I like to hit publish package draft. The other important note with publish package draft is if you're going to install this, you move away, right? And you move away from it and then come back to it and you go to install it. Nothing will install because it hasn't been published. So it doesn't think that there's anything in there. So you'll definitely want to hit publish package draft. Okay. So from here, we can start our install. But before we push the button, best practices with installation. Supered has a best practice that we like to use, and that is by creating developer accounts within HubSpot, right? So we're going to come over to here. I'm going to drop this link in the chat. Before I worked for Supered, I had no idea that HubSpot had these, but I think I was definitely in the minority there. But just in case, there's that quick link for you. We're going to create a developer account. What this will do for us is it will give us like a fresh, clean account, right? That doesn't have any data in it, that we can deploy these packages into and be able to clean up the package if we need to, or get everything into it that we want and make edits, all of that. So I'm going to continue with this user. I am going to not use that account. That's my developer's account. Like developers on Supered's team. I'm not going to touch theirs. If you haven't done this before, it will walk you through a couple of things of like asking, I think, company name and your role. So go through and answer those as you go through. And then when you get to the screen, you'll scroll to about the middle of the screen and you'll come to create test account. And you can have 10 of these at a time. They're active for 90 days. So you can build to your heart's content in them, take out what you build with the super package to be able to deploy, right? So I'm going to create a developer test account and I'm calling it PBC 12.5. Naming conventions for these that work, because I've had people ask me what is the best way to name these as I work through. Sometimes like super test and then the date works really well. Or if you are working on a specific asset type, if you're working on a specific client, you can do like those test things, that kind of a name, right? Or you can just leave it as developer test account 5. That works too. It's a personal preference thing. Okay, now that we have that created, we're gonna pop back over into Supered. And we're going to start our install. This first step would be installing Supered assets. So if I had put bases, rules, or updates in this package, it would install those first. I haven't, but you still need to hit that first step. Step two is grayed out. Why is that grayed out? This is for Supered assets that require some post-installation configuration. So action plans, if we'll have a training camp on action plans, I believe starting next week, but that might be a total lie, so don't hold me to that. And this is recorded, but just kind of solve it, all of that good stuff. Um, okay, that was fun. I don't know if that was contrast, if that was my internet. I'm gonna say my internet was the culprit, and it decided that we weren't gonna talk about Package Builder anymore. So I'm back. Okay. Post-installation configuration, action plans, they need to be assigned to a user within the account when you put them into a package. That's what I was getting to. I'm not sure where I froze, but hopefully we're caught up here. We love modern work problems, right? Okay, so we're going to install our package with HubSpot Resources now. To do that, you'll click on this hyperlink. So we'll go here, click to install. Again, it will pop us into the window of all of the accounts that we have access to. This is your receiving portal. So I'm going to go into that developer account that we just created to test this package. So I'm going to pop in, and then on our right-hand side, inside Kick, we can install our package. So I'm going to hit install package, and I got an error. Errors are okay. They happen, they come up. You have not broken HubSpot. You have not broken Supered. Don't worry. These errors will pop up for a lot of different reasons. Most commonly is like you don't have the right permissions, or the account doesn't have the right permissions, meaning like you're trying to take an enterprise level feature and put it into like a starter account. Or errors like this, where it's saying, hey, we were expecting this, but it came back as this. So it was expecting a radio dial within this a resource that I changed to a text field in my source portal. A couple of ways that I can go about this is I can stop the install, change it back in my source portal, re-add it, and then redeploy my package, or I can ignore it. I can hit continue. Since that is a HubSpot native property, it'll be okay. It will still install everything into the account here. As we're doing installations, we're going through installs. One of the most frequently asked questions I get from brand new super partners is, that's fun. That's an internet connection thing. If it doesn't give you details, it might be a connection hiccup. You can give it a couple seconds and let it try again. But like what I was saying with my new partners, what they ask is, how does Supered know not to install something if it already exists? Like, I don't want duplication. I don't want to duplicate anything in the account. Supered won't install duplicates. It will go off of the name. So if something has the same name in the account, it will skip over that resource and not create it again. We have a couple of resources that you do get a little bit more control of if it skips it or creates it again. Typically, those are workflows, reports, things like that. It will have another pop-up come up that says, this exists. Do you want to create it again, or do you want to skip? So it'll give you that kind of control as well as you are installing different types of HubSpot resources. Other notes is, as you are installing
you can get a couple of different colors of check marks. So we have green, which means that Super created the resource in the account, and blue, which means that Super skipped it. So blue is just confirming that that resource existed already in the account, so Super skipped over it. We're going to try install single again on that dashboard because that should work. Yeah, see, my internet hiccuped, so it didn't want to install that. If that does happen, that's actually a really good troubleshooting thing to do, is to try and hit that install single. If that still doesn't work, then what I always suggest to do is come back over into your Super and come into your intercom chat and chat into our engineering team. They man this chat. So when there's something like an error that comes up with the package builder that you aren't sure what it's saying to you, I do encourage you to use this chat here. Okay. So we've talked about packages, where they live, naming conventions, adding in HubSpot resources, and best practices around deploying them, installing them, right? So let's talk about editing a package. So say it's, a few days later, you have, you need to remove something out of the package, or you want to add more in. So the cool thing with Super packages is you can add HubSpot resources for multiple HubSpot accounts. You don't have to just do one package per account. If you have, like a workflow from company A, from HubSpot A that you want to put into a Super package, and then a dashboard from HubSpot B you want to put into that same package, you're able to do that. So how do you edit your packages? If you need to edit the name or the description, you hit edit details. It will take you back to this screen here. And then again, any edits you make, definitely hit save. But if you need to edit something that's contained within the package, so if you want to edit a HubSpot resource, you'll come over into build package and select HubSpot resource again. And again, it will take you into here. So if it's the same source portal, go to the same source portal, or if it's another one that you want to grab some resources from. I don't know why. I feel like I'm saying resource a lot, and I think my brain's trying to try to find new words, but that's the word. Anyway, you can go into, another account here. When you do that in Package Builder, you do have the option to remove. So you can remove the item, the resource, the object from the package, and then you can come back over here, you'll refresh it, and it will be removed. If you're like me, and you kind of have a little bit of goldfish brain going on, attention deficit disorder, right? And maybe you got pulled away as you were in the middle of doing this edit, you deleted something out, you forgot what you deleted, or you deleted something by accident, and you're worried that you don't remember what it is, Super keeps a record of what the resources that have been deleted out are. So we got you back on that as well. Now, because Super does not keep an open API with HubSpot, if you are updating these packages and you want them to have the updated resources and all the accounts you've installed them into, you do need to go through and reinstall those packages into those client portals. They will not update dynamically when it comes to the HubSpot resources. As well as, here's the other one, is Super does not have the capability, nor will we ever have the capability that I know of, to remove a resource from a HubSpot portal. So if you use a Super package to deploy a HubSpot resource into a portal that maybe shouldn't have that, to remove it, you'll need to go into that HubSpot portal and manually delete the resource. So that's my cautionary campfire tale, right? Okay. Publish the package draft. So anytime that you complete an edit or a change within this screen here, you'll want to ensure that you hit publish package draft. Okay. So from here, let's talk best practices to keep yourself organized as you are deploying, installing packages. So you can, in fact, uninstall, reinstall as many times as you want to, because like I said, Super doesn't have the capability to delete a HubSpot resource. You don't need to worry about it pulling those resources out of any other client account that you've put them into. I don't love that way to do it. You can. It's there. I don't love it. The reason I don't love it is it's hard for my brain to keep track of. And if errors happen, it's a little bit harder for us to dig into where that error occurred if you're doing the uninstall, reinstall thing. The way that I like to do it is by creating client accounts. So in this same partner screen, we're going to pop up into accounts and we're going to create client account. This is where you'll go to create any managed account for a client. So if you are creating, bases with content, updates, process rules for them, this is the same screen that you'll want to create the account for. So you can add them to their managed accounts so that they'll see that content. And even if you're not planning on doing that quite yet, if you are right now, your quick win is to get resources duplicated and put into other portals. I still encourage creating these accounts for them. And you'll see why. So I'm just going to call this one Acme Co because that's what it tells me to do. And so I can find it, right? Oh, I cleaned it up. Cool fish brain. So you'll name it your client name, right? And then you can assign the package from here. You'll assign it, assign to the account, and then you can click on this. It won't let me because I'm already in a client session. But when you click on that, it will take you directly into their account, and then you can install from there the same process that we just saw when I was going over best practice for installation into HubSpot, right? The other reason that I like to do it this way, beyond making it easier for our team to be able to kind of dig into a possible error that came up, is because it keeps the list, right? So I can see what packages this client has, and then alternately, I can see what accounts this package has been assigned into. So it just helps keep that running log for you. And so for my brain, that is a much preferred way to do it. But again, you can absolutely uninstall and reinstall. Another question that comes up that I do like to answer in this camp is, why, if I only have HubSpot resources in this package, why do I have to pick a base, or why is there a base chosen? Reason for this being is every package, whether or not it has HubSpot resources in it, has to go somewhere within Supered as well. So that is why it gives you bases. So while you can organize your packages the way that I just showed you with client accounts, you can also do it with bases if you want to, and create a base for each client, and you can install it. So I would say that's probably my second way that I would do it, just because you would still have to like search through where it's installed. It does give you the parentheses of where it's installed. It's just a couple more clicks to find it, right? So however works best for you. I just prefer creating a client account. Yeah, personal preference. Okay. So we talked HubSpot resources and we talked organization. Adding in Supered resources is quite simple. You come in and you go to your build package, come to bases, and it's the whole base. So if you have just a singular card that you want to give to a package, it does need to be in its own base. That's just the way it's organized, right? So you can select your base and add it in. Mirroring is quite useful for Supered cards and bases. What that does is any changes you make to the base or the content within the base of the cards will update dynamically across accounts that you have them installed into. So you won't need to do going in and uninstalling, reinstalling. This is only for Supered cards, right? So what I said about HubSpot resources still stands. You do need to do the uninstall, reinstall if you make updates there, but for Supered cards, this exists. You can save that there. It'll add it in. Process rules are done via a tag. So when you create a process rule, and we covered how to make tags yesterday, if you were able to attend that, you can create the tag and add in your process rules here, which is quite useful if you don't want to have to go into each account and build them each from scratch, right? You can just assign it in. Updates done by the same way. So tags. Updates are another Supered asset that requires post-installation configuration. So it just needs to be given a launch date. And then action plans, again, as I mentioned, they're going to have their own separate camp. Okay. So there it is. That is how you create packages and install them. Very last thing that I want to talk about is more organization. I love organization. I mean, I don't know if you could tell, but it's one of my favorite things. I get asked sometimes, how best to keep packages organized. There's a couple ways, right? You can do via naming convention. So if you have a specific way you want to name them or number them, you can do it that way. Or I like to use tags. By having a tag created, you can, if we hit save here, you can bring down packages to specifically what you have that tagged as. So if you're creating packages that are just HubSpot resources, you can tag them as HubSpot. If you want to get even more granular, you can do HubSpot workflows, HubSpot, HubSpot dashboards. If you have packages that are just process rules or just basis, you catch my drift. So those are different ways that you can really utilize the tagging system within Supered. All right. That's it, guys. Any questions? I haven't seen any come through the chat, so I think we're doing all right. And awesome. Okay. Thank you so much for spending some time with me this morning to go over Package Builder within Supered. I know that there is a lot of draw on time these days, so I really respect your time. Thank you so much for spending it with me. And of course, as always, stay strong, stay awesome, and stay Supered. Bye, guys.